Chefs and line cooks of Reddit, what is the one item that you hate to make? Eggs. I've worked a lot of stations, but breakfast is heck, even at nice restaurants. I imagine Dennis IHOP is much more soul crushing, but I haven't had the pleasure myself. The first few months are awesome. You're learning everything. Your egg cookery rapidly progresses from good to insanely badass. You crack eggs with incredible speed and accuracy, and you get to see the sun go down. Unless the PM crew freaking blows it, and then you're stuck working a 16-hour shift. Unfortunately, after the first year or so you never want to see a freaking egg again, and no one will switch shifts with you because you're the only one who knows how to run brunch and no one else is stupid enough to volunteer to wake up at 5:00 AM on a Saturday Sunday morning. Eventually your life grinds into one long string of brunches, and you dream of eggs over easy and over hard, and broken yolks and broken dreams, and the screams from all the little unfertilized chicken babies you killed and served with their mothers on those delicious fried chicken and waffle plates. Eggs get to you. I still hate breakfast. Don't even like the smell. Can't enjoy it. I've gone out for a couple of brunches since I stopped working brunch, and I just get too wound up and anxious. I feel like I should be working, not sitting on my ass. Frick it though, right? At least one day it'll be a breeze to make breakfast for my kids. I freaking loved egg station, but I never had to work mornings. Eggs aren't breakfast food in France, so it's just another station on the dinner line. Basically everything. Being a line cook makes you an angry person, especially frick eggs Benedict. Cleaning duck livers for Pate. £30 a week. The bloody gore makes me feel like Ted Bundy. Freaking lasagna. Shoots great. I get it. Spaghetti cake. When you have to make enough lasagna to feed 1,200 people every 2 weeks, you will hate it. Plus it takes forever to cook. Also was a baker for 8 years and I hate cookies. 1,602 ounces balls of cookie dough, measured and rolled and put onto sheet pans and then patiently cooked by hand. Frick that. So glad I got out. I hated how that slimy cookie spit would slowly dribble down the scooper, because you're dipping it in water so the dough doesn't stick. 400 in and your hands covered in brown sugar eggy grossness. For me, it's lobster bisque. It takes 3-4 hours worth of work for 6 bowls of soup. I'll let someone in a commercial kitchen make a giant batch and pay for a bowl, never making it again. My restaurant just took this off the menu and every cook I've talked to can't be happier. Here's a story from a past restaurant. I was working in a pretty fancy restaurant. The price point and food was a little above the town's head and eventually closed. One of the line cooks was actually younger than me. We both went to the same high school. He was learning, but dang was he learning fast. One day, an order came in while I was reading tickets and the young guy said, "Damn it, I hate making what of a dish." The chef, one of the hardest working and decent human beings I ever met, said, "Nah man, you can't start saying that, even if you mean it. The second you start openly hating annoyances, you're gonna let it take over and start doing it with every dish, every little thing." Of course, what he said really applies to life entirely, not just cooking. I understand I'm probably overthinking the question, but that advice has seriously helped me over the years and I hope it reaches some of you peeps too. Worked with a guy who would be at everything. Looking back, I almost miss that. I almost couldn't get annoyed with anything I was doing with him going off on everything in the background. As a teenager, I used to work at this family-run old world style restaurant diner. Liver and mother trucking onions. For those of you who don't know, beef livers are huge, like 3-4 featuring long by 12-14 inches wide and 5-7 inches tall. They got sliced into less than 1/4 in slices and stored in containers with their own blood. Cooking the order involved ladling about half a cup of oil onto the flat top and dumping some onions nearby. Then sticking your hand into the blood and beef filled container, pulling out a slice, or 2 or 3 depending on size, dredging them in flour and throwing them on the flat top in the oil. Bloody flour club hands are gross. We also cook them to temperature. A rare liver order is really just throwing it down. Look at it a second, flip it, look at it a second more and plate it. While I was there, a large portion of our clientele was older and loved this stuff. It was not uncommon to get a ticket with 4-8 orders of what looked like a female cow uterine blood clot before cooking. And God help me if I ever have to smell that crap frying away again. Growing up, I watched the cartoon Doug. There's an episode about liver and onions. I've never cared to try it after that. This makes me feel bad for ordering any food anywhere. I feel horrible. My standard breakfast is eggs benedict and my favorite dessert is creme brulee. I'm done with calamari. I love eating calamari. It's delicious, but making it is another story. Fried tilapia. Frick that thing. It was a whole fried fish. I would have to run into the back and grab on, rinse it, and score it, all in the middle of a rush. Then batter it as its nasty blood got everyone in my dang station. Throw it in the fryer and sit there to make sure it didn't get overcooked. After that was done we would stab it on a ticket stabber to make it stand up and look like it was swimming. Sucker always fell over like a fish out of water. Cause guess what? It was. I'll upload a picture later when I get my old phone charged if there is any interest. Whoever put that on the menu sounds like a raging moron. Anyone who's ever tried to cook fish that way knows it's a delicate and time-consuming process. Not to mention the tilapia we get in the straight up tastes like dirt. Nothing bothers me anymore. I've been cooking for so long. It's all work. The bloomin' onion. I don't know if they have a different way of doing it now, but when I did it, not at Outback, you'd end up having to deep fry your fingers because they were covered in egg, wash and batter just like the onion, and you'd have to slowly lower it and your fingers into the fryer. Then, you had to babysit that sucker and flip it over at the right time to avoid burning it. All the while, you need to fry a crap ton of other fried goodies. But no, you're too busy babysitting that onion. After it's done you'd have to really scrub your deep fried gooey fingers. Just at that point, everyone in the seating area is smelling and seeing that bloomin' onion and decide to order one for themselves. The torture continues. That experience was, like, 25 years ago. I have yet to order one as a customer just because I know the heck that goes into making one. Making aioli. I am the only one that can make it at my work and I have to make about 6 liters of it a day. It's not hard, just frustratingly boring. Club sandwiches with every freaking extra topping we offer. At my current gig, running through 150-ish burgers on Friday night in about 2 hours time. Middle of the rush. Pace is smooth. Goddamn mother trucking club sandwich every freaking time. I worked at a big 2-week-long fair in the summer. I'm just a teen so it was a summer job. We served gourmet grilled cheese sandwiches and I was the grill guy. There was one sandwich called the Sicilian and it was the hardest dank thing to make. It was a nice sandwich and all, but it was fine to make for a while. But at that point we were using steak weights to press it on the grill. Before going further, I'll explain the contents of a Sicilian sandwich. Bread, a metric crap ton of grated mozzarella, capicola, mortadella, some balsamic reduction, more mozzarella, and bread. You buttered both sides and slapped that sucker on the grill. Fine with steak weights. It compressed it and it cooked through fairly quickly and evenly. But no, my manager decided steak weights made the sandwiches look too small, and so stole them from our stand and we never saw them again. So without the weights, this sandwich is a good 10 centimeters thick and is a mess every time you flip it. Cheese everywhere. The sandwich is so spaced out that by the time it's cooked through it's black on the sides and burnt and fricking crap. Fish and chips. That batter gets frickin' everywhere. Holding it for a few seconds before releasing it into the fryer to set the batter while it burns all frick out of your wrist. I used to be a line cook and grill at a Tex-Mex restaurant in Well, Texas. We had these sampler plates that had just about one of each item on them. Frick those things. You have to fry one flauta, rolled up tortilla with chicken inside. When all the other flauta orders come in multiples of 3, then you have to make one goddamn enchilada, which all these rich folk in the area like without the onions inside. Which would totally be fine, but our cooks pre-roll them with the onions in them. So that adds more time and you have to heat up the thing with the chili and make sure the cheese is melted. Frick those plates, and frick onionless enchiladas. Former steakhouse app line here. Anything called a sampler is a pain in the fricking ass. Gnocchi. I hate having to make any dish that requires a rolling boil. I had to make gnocchi by hand at a small plates place. I did the math on how many gnocchi I cut. I got about 5k out of a batch and I did 2 batches a week. So in the year I was on that station I cut just over 500k tiny baby gnocchi. Finally something I can answer. Over the summer I worked as a line cook at a country club. I ran a small kitchen at the pool area and had to deal with the small kids, and mothers. I can not stand freaking chicken fingers. I understand it's easy to make. You throw it in the fryer and let it do its thing. I just went through I'd say over 100 plus 5-pound bags of chicken fingers over the summer. When we had swim meets we would go through pounds of it. Plus we used the chicken fingers for other meals like chicken wraps and use it for salads for the mothers. It just drove me up a wall when we ran out. Profiteroles are the bane of my existence. Sweet or savory, it doesn't matter. They are unbalanced little ragegasms of frustration. Also, omelets. I managed to get profiteroles right first time. Only the first time though. My brother-in-law worked with me at the restaurant I worked at. He freaking hated stuffed French toast. Not the crappy donut crap you get at IHOP. Real stuffed French toast. In case anyone was wondering, the process went something like this. Soften the cream cheese so you can stir in a massive amount of powdered sugar. Put back in fridge to harden up. Make the French toast. Slap some of that sweet cream cheese between to French toast. Dip that crap in some pancake batter without it falling apart. Deep fry that crap. Take it out, top with strawberries, powdered sugar and whipped cream. Diabetes. Crap just took so dang long they took it off the menu, but he made it for me a couple times. We have a few of these sharing board type things on our menu. Olives, Scotch eggs, cured meats, cheese straws, fancy looking tempura cauliflower crap. Basically they're fiddly as frick. Loads of different time consuming bits and bobs that have to be piled up all pretty like. The boards are never quite big enough, but if you put them on a bigger board people realize how little they're getting for their money. And good god do people love ordering all of them 15 minutes before the end of service because they're peckish. Oh yeah, we'll just have the meat platter. Oh, and the veggie platter. Lovely. Oh, and can we have this instead of that? Yeah, and swap this for this. No you can't. Die in a fire. I worked in a few restaurants, but the Chipotle I worked at was insane. All day, every day after 2 PM it was a line literally out the door until 9. Do not ask for a quesarito and do not get mad at me for denying you. We're literally just not allowed to make them when there's anyone else there at all. It takes minutes to make, which is insane considering how fast the line needs to move to avoid the line growing any bigger than it already usually is. Not to mention it's not even a menu item. The Chipotle I worked at has one single and hateful 1-star review, and it's all because I didn't make one for a single customer who kept coming back and asking when I told him I just wasn't allowed. Everything. Cook for 8 years. It's all the same. You are always almost out of something, and that something happens to be the thing that everyone wants. Not because they usually want it. It's because they freaking know you're almost out of it. It's not Murphy's Law. It's like Murphy's Law accelerated like a mother. Whatever can go wrong is going to go wrong like right now. There is always things that trend each night for no reason other than some crazy collective consciousness crap we can't really explain. There always comes a point when you run out of that thing though and just say frick it, I didn't have time to put it on the 86 list, I am just gonna sub something else and not say crap. If they really care enough to send it back, they'll gladly make whatever else they want. I will say though that cooking by yourself and working multiple stations at once, trying to keep track of pizzas in the oven while battering and frying other things to order is a freaking nightmare. Till chefs are bitter and hate the world. Sausage. I was a line cook, but did prep for the AM. The sausage grinding attachment suck to clean. The gloves get so greasy that the mess transfers to everything. The sound is mushy and nauseating. The grinder is potentially dangerous. Lose-lose situation. Turning vegetables. Might have spelled that wrong. Taking extra time to make an unnatural football shape look silly is uncreative and wasteful. You lose product for a particular outdated design, and no benefit adding flavor or creativity gained. The best garnishes are the unique, editable, and utilizing every bit possible. I can do it, and decently well. Still ridiculous. I used to be a sauté cook at Buca de Beppo. Pretty much everything sucked. Customers in the kitchen? Yeah, that's a great idea. I can't curse or freak on the bastard on pasta who is high and fricked up the spaghetti. Oh hey chef, what's this? A party of 46? I need to make 32 pieces of chicken, 20 veal parm, 12 more chicken in a different style, 5 orders of calamari, 20 deep fried mozzarella shoots and an order of salmon all at once? Sure thing. Oh, and by the way Sigma, it's 9:30. Do a trash run and you gotta get on your freezer pull. Crap. Okay. Oh, and another thing. The dishwasher is new, so you also gotta help him clean dishes after you scrub out that freaking deep fryer. Glad to see that party is going well. Here are 7 other tables orders. Now, I work in a pub. I have a 1/2 FT flat top. It's in a college town. My flat top is behind the bar. I don't have a kitchen. I got a 3 section and that's pretty much it. I am doing burgers and wraps and crap with bartenders running around behind me and drunk fricks yelling at me to get them a drink. I have a knife in my hand. What now? Overall though, freaking sweet gig if I got paid just a tad more. It's not what I make. It's the fricks I gotta rail it for who have no respect or manners. Every now and then I will be bent over the 3 section scrubbing something, and some tea will be like, right there. Also, again, can't frick up or do something a little crappy like normally happens in a kitchen. You know what I mean. Welcome to Thunderdome. B. Sliders. All the work of a normal burger, just several more times. I love eating sliders, but man will they never be on a menu of mine again. Rib night. I used to work in a college town at this place with bottomless ribs for $12 every Tuesday. Totally inadequate ventilation meant that the kitchen stayed at an ambient temperature of 110. It also meant by about 5:30 PM you were caught in an infinitely dense volume of black smoke that ruined your lungs as much as it did your clothes for the rest of the night. Honorable mention is anyone who orders a freaking veggie burger on rib night. Those awful patties are so goddamn uncooperative. Last restaurant I worked at, the owner thought selling turducken for Thanksgiving would be a great idea. Deboning 22 turkeys, ducks, and chickens was a special kind of heck. Ice cream store. Banana split. You have to cut a banana in half and it takes like 10 whole seconds. It's really not so bad. Dude, milkshakes are worst. Having to babysit them for 3 minutes. Put the whipped cream and cherry on top. Then getting 15 more orders for the same thing. All on a single blender. I've heard from many cook friends that no one is ever happy with how their hash browns were made. Only one ever worked at Waffle House IHOP though. As a customer, I'd love it if I could order hash browns cooked through and actually get them. I hate half-cooked potatoes. Dough. I would rather cook most anything than make cut dough. Takes forever and flour is everywhere. I find these really entertaining. Keep up the good work. #feature me. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.